Mr. Bellman?
Here.
Mr. Folk?
Present.
Mrs. Lindeman? Here. Mr. Napier?
Here.
Mrs. Winger? Here.
Had a chance to look over the agenda. I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Bellman?
Yes.
Mr. Folk?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindeman? Yes. Mr. Napier?
Yes.
Mrs. Winger? Yes.
I need a motion for approval of the minutes from the special board meeting held on May 13th, 2024, and special board meeting of June 13th, 2024.
Second. Mrs. Winger? Yes. Mrs. Lindeman? Yes. Mr. Bellman?
Yes.
Mr. Folk?
Yes.
Mr. Napier?
Yes. Item 5, public participation. I don't believe any. Item 6, special commendations. Item A there, the following donations, $130.17 to the Elementary Student Council from FEA, $200 from Martha Blanchard for unpaid student fees. Item B is the motion to approve the following spring student accomplishments, and as you can see, there's quite a few there. Ella Boughton was first team KMAC in shot put and discus, state qualifier in shot put and discus, and the runner-up in shot put. The following were second team KMAC: Micah Phillips, Katie Kanagi, Peyton Blakesley, Elizabeth Schwarzentruber, Callie Carpenter, Trinity Inzor, Emily Feeney, Emma Scott, Kit Bellman, Casey Rook, Ellie Kirshner, and Jenny Alexander. And honorable mention KMAC for girls track is Haley Cockrell and Emma Fowler. Boys track and field, first team KMAC is Caden Platt. Grant Hartley was first team KMAC, Brandon Hogg, and Aiden McManus. Trevor Bellman was all academic KMAC. And do I have okay, and then for honorable mention KMAC is Tanner Estep, Elijah Roush, and Gavin Toombs. Baseball is Corbin McCown was the first team KMAC, all academic KMAC. And then also Carter Mall was second team KMAC, and Lane Warner honorable mention. Girls softball, first team was Taylor Brown, Kelsey Bell. Second team, Chloe Wells, Jacinia Montalvo. And honorable mention is Trinity Garrettson and Julia Partington, KMAC, all academic. I'm almost done. Also, item C are our staff awards. First of all, we'll recognize the two retirees, Jackie Strong and Carrie Stump. Those who receive 5 years of service, or have 5 years of service in the district, is Samantha Boone, Theodora Roush, Alexandra Rutherford, Emily Sheriff, Nancy Thayer, and Ashley Warner. 10 years of service, Katie Dirth, Cale Grubb, Don Lincecum, Debbie L. Ray, Buffy Sapp, Deanne Smith, Samantha Strebe, Anna Taylor, Brent Wolf. 15 years of service is Brian Snyder. 20 years of service, Tonda Lewis. 25 years of service is the aforementioned Carrie Stump and Megan Bender. You've heard all the special commendations. I will not read them again. I need a motion to accept those.
So moved. Second.
Thank you.
Mr. Bellman?
Yes.
Mr. Folk?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindeman? Yes. Mr. Napier?
Yes.
Mrs. Winger? Yes.
Treasurer's report.
Okay, expenses exceeded, May seems like an eternity ago as we're at the end of June, but all my financials are for the month of May. So expenses exceeded revenue in May by $280,000. They were completely due to the large expenditures. We had a bond payment. We paid for the weather station, food service, of course, Mid-Ohio for behavior support services, Knox County ESC for special education services, and then several supplies from Amazon for just normal supplies, and then technology services. I did give you a breakdown of the past 4 years of ESC aides, sub-teachers, classified and overtime. The one that will stand out to me, and I hope that stood out to you, was the ESC aides. ESC aides this year was $331,000, where even though it was COVID, 2021 it was $85,000, and then 21-22 was $112,000. So in 2-year time, we have jumped up $200,000 just for ESC aides alone. Sub-teachers have also increased almost by 20,000 or more. Sub-teachers 2 years ago, 21-22 was 81,000. We're at 119. And then sub-classifieds has actually decreased. We were at 43 and now we're at 39. And overtime also decreased, but that is really due to all the extra preventative care that we has kind of slowed down from the COVID. It was 58,000, now we're at 41,000 for the year. But the ESC was the major outlier on there. I'm also presenting my final amended appropriations for fiscal '24. Revenue is up, really, it was due to property tax increases. The total for the year was $3.6 million that I'm asking for. We did receive, actually on June 17th, ODE or due, gave increases for 3 grants at the end of the year. Just small increases, but they did total around 20,000, and those were the title grants. And then for the amended appropriations, the large one there was self-insurance. Self-insurance just increased. I had increased it by 49,000, so that totaled it for a total of for the remainder of the year of 84,000. And then my appropriations for 2025, I have those, the temporary ones. General fund remains as it was pretty much as last year. There was really no increase. I left it high in case there were some large expenditures that would come up for the building that I know we are anticipating. So I am presenting my temporary appropriations for fiscal '25 as well. And that is everything that I have.
Take a motion, I got question, I have
Okay.
a question.
Yep, that's fine.
So moved.
Second? Yes, sir.
I'm not, so, with the ESC aides,
Yes.
I know the ESC, it's not because we have more necessarily.
We
It's-
do have more
we do have
ESC.
more.
Yes. Yes.
And they also raise their,
They also raised their fee.
do you, not put you on the spot, but wasn't there like a percentage, like they get raised?
Next year, their salary will increase by 8%.
Okay. That's, okay.
Yeah.
And there's also a need for those aides.
Yeah,
Correct.
there is.
Yeah,
But I just
our
wanted-
ESC aides have doubled.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even on the substitute teachers, like we've raised the rate
We raised the rate.
significantly.
Correct. Correct.
So that, and that's based on need.
Yes.
So that's not a huge shocker. that
Yeah,
that went
the teacher, that one
Yeah.
did not,
Yeah.
that increase, the 20,000 was really due to us raising from 80 to 120 a day.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the ESC number was,
Yeah.
The ESC was a little
Yeah.
shocking.
But I was
Larger,
trying to,
yeah.
I was trying to place that
yeah,
in my head. and I-
Yeah,
Yeah.
at that point in time, was it the 21-22 school year? Yeah. We had right around, I believe it was 7 aides, and right now we're close to the 13-14
Okay.
mark.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions?
Okay. Mr. Bellman,
yes.
Mrs. Winger? Yes. Mr. Falk?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindeman?
Yes.
Mr. Napier?
Yes.
Thank you.
Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Napier. Good evening, everyone. I have a few things here to update you on, and then we'll get into a recommendation as far as the cell phone policy is concerned. But first, if you notice on the board agenda, I believe it is item A, we're going to recommend that we move the regular July 9th board meeting to a week later to Tuesday, July 16th. So at that one right now, we're preparing to have Mr. Dan Obrimba from Fanning Howie, our consultant there, and present the renovation proposal to you regarding the bus garage. We thought maybe we could get that accomplished this evening, but that did not work out just because of the time frame. So I'd like to set you up for that one too, and that gives us a little bit more time for him to be here on July 16th. Also too, wanted to share with you that on June 13th, we attended the Knox County School Safety Update. I'll be honest with you, that was down at Mount Vernon Energy Fieldhouse, and the collaboration between the Knox County first responders and Mount Vernon City and the school districts is just outstanding. I'll be honest, that's an exemplary model for Knox County that we're collaborating like that. I'm not sure that you can share another example to that degree. But one thing I did want to remind you that we are going to host here on July 16th, that'd be the day of the board meeting, a planning meeting for us then to talk about logistics, and this will be with Fredericktown First Responders, Fire, EMT, Mount Vernon City School, Rick Schaefer, Knox County EMA, Amy Seward, hopefully JT, and some of our people here. I know Mr. Bellman and Mrs. Lindeman have agreed to represent the board, but we're going to host that at 9:15. That planning meeting will be for us to plan our field trip, where we're going to intend to take our staff, our teachers down to the site, down to the reunification site at Energy Fieldhouse on August 14th. The buses will transport our staff there, and we would do that in the morning. But that's our intentions. We need to plan and pull everyone together there and make sure that we're all on the same page and make that work out. But that's all part of our safety conversations and planning as we start to prepare for the next school year. So thank you, Mr. Bellman, Mrs. Lindeman, for agreeing to be there. The next thing too that I just wanted to share with you is on Tuesday of this week, we held an initial district leadership team meeting, and that was led by our Mid-Ohio ESC consultants, Dr. Burke and Mrs. Amber Clay Mowry, that you've all met. District leadership team members, just so you know, there are Kelly Herbst, Stacy Myers, Teresa Snyder, Jan Reynolds, Adam Brown, Matt Caputo, Hannah Taylor, Cindy Truex, Gina Sackman, and Ryan Shoemaker. I provided for you a copy of the slide deck and also the exit ticket responses there from our initial meeting. A lot of it focused on initially there as far as what data are we using as a district to make decisions, and then also communication strategies, structures that we do or do not have in place. So interesting conversation there. We got through about half of the slide deck, if you will, and we're looking to bring everybody there back in the 1st of August. With this, though, I'll be honest, I am excited about this group's leadership, their insight, perspectives, and the potential impact that they can have on our district as far as alignment and keeping the main thing, which is student achievement and growth. So just wanted to share that with you, and I'll be sharing more as we get into the school year and utilize their leadership. At this point, too, I would like to thank Mr. Napier, Mr. Bauman, Mrs. Darnold, Mr. Brown, and Mr. Shoemaker, that on Monday came in here and we met for about just under 2 hours and worked through an initial draft of the cell phone policy, which I have provided a hard copy in front of you for there. As you know, we've been discussing the cell phone policy at least for the past 3 months. We've utilized various surveys from staff to faculty, family, and even parent advisory council. Also, too, I know we've utilized various and numerous discussions with our faculty, our staff, through even during after board sessions, voting leadership team meetings, teacher-based team meetings, and even faculty meetings, as I said there. So a lot of talk over the past few months here on this whole thing, and we've solicited a lot of feedback. The draft that we have in front of you here follows the cell phone model policy template that was released by the Department of Education and Workforce on June 3rd, 2004, or 24th. You also find under item B on our agenda that, under the consent agenda, that this is a first reading of this policy. Okay, and so that means what we want to do is put this forth out there, possibly solicit feedback and take some time to look through this with a fine-tooth comb. If there are any things, if there is anything that you think we need to change or look at again, please let us know. We would want to hear that. The intentions here, and I'll read through some of this, of the policy, but our intentions would be to hear a final reading and take formal action at the July 16th board meeting. That would be the intentions at this time. So with that being said, let me just read some of this policy so people here can at least hear initially what we have. To support school environments in which students can fully engage with their classmates, their teachers, and instruction, Fredericktown Local Schools has determined the use of cell phones by students during school hours should be limited. The objective of this policy is to strengthen the Fredericktown School District's focus on learning in alignment with our mission to ignite students' passion for learning, cultivate a strong foundation of knowledge, and foster a sense of community within our schools. Research shows that student use of cell phones in schools has a negative effect on student performance and mental health. Cell phones distract students from classroom instruction, resulting in smaller learning gains and lower test scores. Increased cell phone use has led to higher levels of depression, anxiety, and other mental health disorders in children. This policy applies to the use of cell phones by students while on school property and during school hours. The use of cell phones, beginning with the 24-25 school year, students in grades 6 through 12 are prohibited from using cell phones between the hours of 7:45 a.m. to 2:45 p.m. That's our school hours. Students in grades K through 5 are prohibited from using cell phones between the hours of 8:45 and 3:45 p.m. If cell phones are brought to school, they must remain in student backpacks or in school-assigned lockers and be turned off during the school day. Please note that school telephones are available for emergency use by students. We go on to share other information as far as the responsibility piece of cell phones, and then also exceptions to the policy, cell phone storage, and discipline. Once this policy is approved, we will then go to work as well as far as the discipline piece of this and the consequences as it relates to each school building in and of itself. Because if we start listing specific discipline consequences within this, it will not be applicable, say, from a high school student to an elementary student. It could be a different level. So, and that's something that we will continue to work through within our administrative guidelines as far as how we administrate. With that being said, anything you would like us to look at or consider as we move forward here?
So under, just lost it. Oh, use of cell phones, but please note school telephones are available. And then it says it again, which maybe it's supposed to, under exception. Is it supposed to say it
Yes.
twice? Okay, just
Yep.
making sure. And then I guess, and I meant to get into the handbook and look, but from a backpack perspective, we're still no backpacks, right?
Right, they are in their locker, correct, at the middle school and high school level.
So, okay. Because it says in backpacks or lockers, but
Right.
backpacks are already in the lockers, right?
Yes, they are.
That can be elementary. They can come.
Okay. I mean, it resembles pretty much the model policy. I mean, I kind of
A
looked
lot
back
of it
at it,
does.
I mean, I would say
Yes.
90,
We took a lot of the
5%
language
of it?
from that. What we will do is I also sent, or gave you in front of you, just a release that, of our intentions here that we are considering a new policy that would restrict the use of cell phones for students, and we would like to send that out to we'll give it to media and then possibly put that on social media and our website as well. So take a look at that, language there, and then tomorrow is how we would like to communicate. Obviously, media is not here this evening, so we do want to do a thorough job of attempting to communicate with our community, which will be ongoing too, as we approach the new school year.
Well, we have a plan to, if we implement this, will there be a plan to look at it again after a certain period of time and evaluate it, make sure that it is working?
We will continue to evaluate that policy. There will be unintended, I would anticipate unintended consequences with this, loopholes. We are gonna do our best to address those, but also though to do that, we need to have some flexibility as well and understand there are gonna be situations that may not be the same across the board, so we need to be careful with that. But yeah, I think it's very important that we continue to evaluate that, and our principals will keep us updated as to the challenges they are facing and what they are seeing as far as in the classrooms, but also in the school, what the impact it is having.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I do not have anything
Okay.
else.
All right, with the consent agenda. With the consent agenda, as I mentioned, items A and B previously. Also, item C is the annual MOU with the Village of Fredericktown for our school resource officer. We would have there as well on item D, a motion to revise the 24-25 district calendar to include a professional development day for Friday, September 27, 2024. And then the final reading there of our athletic handbook, transportation handbook, and parent-student handbook. One of the things that you may be wondering with the parent-student handbook, it has our current cell phone policy in that. Once if this is approved at the July 16th, we will replace the current policy that is listed within the handbook and put that, replace it with the new policy as approved, as adopted. Item F would be the Student Success and Wellness Plan for fiscal year '24. And you can see then some employment there for physical therapy, League of Clendenning, and then also to approve the $5,000 Ewald Scholarship, which was awarded to Hannah Hobart. She will be attending Mount Vernon Nazarene University, and that scholarship is awarded to Fredericktown graduates who would be going into the teaching profession. So we're always excited about that, and wish her the best there. Item I is to approve the Neola policies as presented in May. Food servicing purchase co-op with HPS. And then personnel that we would have there from supplemental and certificated staff. We have Molly Ryan as school psychologist and Montana Hoovler as middle school, high school intervention specialist. With this, we have, for the most part, wrapped up hiring for this year as of today. Still working with AIA, Educational Consulting Group, regarding speech language pathologists to identify that person. But otherwise, principals, we are good to go as of June 27th. So that's huge. Hopefully it's right too. Yes. We would then have supplemental contracts for 24-25. As you can see there, and then also volunteer chaperones for band camp, football games and band festivals for the school year, and that would wrap up then the consent agenda items.
Need a motion to accept the superintendent's consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
there any discussion?
I just have one, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, John.
I lost it. Chief, the Cornerstone Pediatric Therapy, are they a local?
Yeah, they're located in Mount Vernon.
They're Mount Vernon?
Mhm.
Okay, question.
Yep.
Good.
I didn't have a chance to check my email, I'm sorry, with some of the questions I had about the handbook. So I apologize if I got a response that I haven't looked at yet, but it looks like there was still some adjustments to the handbook as far as like the final reading, should it match what we got?
The final reading as far as specific,
Like the district on the one.
we made some of, you
Yes.
called out a name on the, which was a good catch.
Well, Mr. Caputo's
District
still the
lead.
elementary school principal according
We-
to this.
Thanks to you looking through there, we did go in there and change that.
Okay.
Online piece, and then
Okay.
also, I think what you might be referring to too, and I mentioned that earlier, the cell phone policy itself, we had
Sure.
some red letter and strike through. We took those off as far as returned it back to what it said
Okay,
a year ago.
awesome. I
And
didn't have a
then-
chance to check,
So-
sorry.
But thank you for that. That helps us out too, catch those things as well.
Any other questions?
Mr. Falk,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindeman,
Yes.
Mr. Bellman,
Yes.
Mr. Napier.
Yes.
Mrs. Winger.
Yes.
Item 11, committee reports. Legislative liaison. What's going on down there?
Oh,
A
geez.
lot, there's a lot going on. Been busy at the State House, so. So yeah, there's been a bill, a recent bill actually, that was, signed into law since our last meeting. Actually, there's two. One was House Bill 250, which is the cell phone policy bill. The other one is House Bill 50, which is it modifies, property tax exemption for, pre-residential, so undeveloped, residential property. And it requires that, property owners apply for that exemption with the county auditor instead of the tax commissioner. The piece of that applies to us is that it removes provisions that require the Board of Education to be notified of an application for an exemption. And it also removes the provision that allows a board to participate in any hearing on an application. So the only way we would receive any kind of notification on that, is if we ask the county auditor to provide us with that notification. Those are the two that have been, officially signed into law. There are several that have been passed, by the Senate just this week, a couple days ago, actually. So they are all heading to the governor for signature. That is House Bill 47, which requires placement of automated external defibrillators in each public and chartered non-public school in each public recreational facility. House Bill 147, which deals with teacher licensure revocation and hiring practices, and House Bill 214, which requires that each public school adopt a policy regarding certain expectations related to the performance of staff members' professional duties. So those are all heading to Governor DeWine for signature. And then another one that is not quite, hasn't moved quite as far down the path, but still one to watch is Senate Bill 112, which is now called the Ohio Childhood Safety Act. And it would hold schools to the same standards as other facilities such as hospitals and courthouses in regards to interior and exterior doors. So it would require the installation of doors that meet specific safety standards, and would also require annual inspections of those doors. So that one could potentially pass before the end of the week. I think the General Assembly goes into recess after this week, and they won't reconvene again then until fall. So that's why that's it for me this week.
Shelley, was that, did you say that was House Bill 214 that was about the performance?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I assume with the House bill about the doors, there's no funding involved in the state as far as, you know, I have a tendency to dump stuff in that table.
I don't know.
Don't know that,
specifically
okay.
the answer to that, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Like a safety grant kind of thing,
Yeah, I just,
maybe?
it's just their past history and they have these great
Yeah.
ideas and we
Is there
haven't
any money
funded them.
attached to
Yeah.
House Bill, Senate Bill
Funding
12
for the doors if they pass.
Requirements for door
I
safety.
haven't seen anything.
Haven't seen anything.
Yeah, true.
Thank you, Shelley. Finance Committee, myself and Mrs. Lindeman do not meet with Mrs. Darnold and Mr. Chapman until
October?
We'll probably
September?
meet in September or
September?
October.
Fredericktown Community Development Liaison, Mr. Falk.
As per usual, I was up in Minnesota, missed that meeting as well. This next one again, and so I'll turn this over to my able assistant here, who did an excellent job.
I took copious notes, so you guys can shut me off when you need to, but the Community Development Foundation, they're working hard on the, most of the meeting was about the streetscape, but they're working hard on the streetscape grand opening and possible ribbon cutting ceremony. They're looking at to correspond that with the Harvest Festival, which is scheduled for October 5th, Saturday, October 5th, so a lot of discussion there. Also, though, too, the Economic Development Committee had a discussion about finding more ways to give scholarships to our graduating seniors. And that was an encouraging discussion. Of course, I'm biased on that one, but if we pull that out, that would be great news as well. And there was also some discussion there as the difference between the Fredericktown Foundation and the Knox County Foundation. I need more of a history lesson on that to be better able to explain it, but I'll give that to you later. But just some discussion there. But again, the good news there is finding more ways to get our students money. Emily Shipley, Downtown Experience Coordinator, gave an update on her work in keeping Facebook current, website up to date. She's also working to schedule a combined Knox County community meeting with representatives from each of the entities that she represents within the county. Sam Filkins reported out on the facade improvement grant. Taste of Country was approved their grant, and I think you've already seen the result of that down there. Also, there are additional dollars left. He also shared that the next cohort of about 35 individuals attending the Leadership Knox would be touring Fredericktown on June 20th. That was last week. And that was hosted by Kikozi to showcase Fredericktown's community collaboration and economic community and workforce development. Bruce Snell spent a lot of time on I wrote down here, a plethora of streetscape updates, and I think you've seen most of those now if you've driven through there, because again, this was June 13th. Wanted to give kudos to the American Legion and for hosting the Memorial Day event in Fredericktown, and Christine Lindeman in the design committee for the Wayfinder banners for Fredericktown veterans. So that was impressive on the street lights there on West Sandusky. The design committee shared a final design for the Wayfinder banners, update on benches and planters for the streetscape, and then also kudos to our PLTW students, Kathy Daniels, Justin Strebe, as the fire pit project across from Brick House is underway. So that's pretty awesome to see that. Also plug for the farmers market. It's up and running every Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m., I believe, out there. 4 to 6:30 p.m. Thank you. Sarah Autry report out on 43019. Be looking for the special July edition next week coming out. Upcoming events: 4th of July Fair at the Square on August 3rd, Harvest Festival October 5th, and Chief Myers in the Fredericktown Police Department will be hosting a national night out and car show celebration on Tuesday, August 6th, from 6 to 9 at Marion Park. Bring your family and friends and enjoy an evening at the park. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. Knox County Career Center.
That's all he has, that was like a whole page. You're bored in Fredericktown, something wrong. Career Center meeting was that last week, Paul, or week before? I forget, week before maybe. I apologize. I was there, and actually our board president reported out to his board on just all the things happening with maybe a switch to Final Forms, Schoology, just kind of a tech update on all the things happening down at the Career Center. Jordan, who just snuck out of here, also gave an update on their cold storage building that's being built down at the Career Center for the safety service storage. A lot of the same things that we're working on as far as hiring and approval of some of that's happening down there. It was another little shout out to Caleb Randall, which I think I reported at our last meetings. I had that information, was Student of the Year down at the Career Center. Kind of a unique situation there because he's a dual school student, had only been at the Career Center 1 year as a senior in the pre-professional mentorship. So had an opportunity just to kind of share just that partnership I think Fredericktown has with the Career Center, that he was recognized just for being there in that short period of time. And for those of you that were present at our award ceremony, he also received a lot of awards here at Fredericktown, so kind of a cool thing. And then they had actually a female in the collision repair program that won a pretty significant scholarship that hasn't happened at the Career Center often. I mean, I would say often, but and it being a female this year in the collision repair was pretty exciting. So lots of good things continuing to happen at the Career Center, and again, appreciate that partnership with them, doing what's good for kiddos.
Thank you.
Yep.
Business Advisory Council, Mr. Bellman.
We did not meet this month. Our next meeting is July 31st.
Okay. Policy, Mr. Bellman, Mrs. Wayne.
There's no more.
Mark,
No more.
we voted.
No, no policy.
Any board member reports? All right. Okay, same here. Administrative reports. Who goes first?
Sure. Really nothing at the middle school right now, just obviously planning for next year and get everything lined up for the staff and students when they come back in August.
Transitioning with Gina, and did some transitioning with John Maceras.
Okay.
We have everybody.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we're going to share on the Focus 3, July 15th.
Yes. Focus 3, looks like as of right now, they're going to be coming in to do, to get, for the train-the-trainer model to certify staff members. We'd like to have, definitely have Cindy Truex, who's going to be heading up our PBIS, to get certified, and then we get somebody at the high school, elementary level, we're looking at doing that. So we're waiting on, we're back on a few people, but we'd like to get at least 3 people, try to get 3 people trained. There might be some other schools waiting on Jennifer Lawson, who's head of the educational part of Focus 3. There's a Portsmouth wants to send 3 people. There's a school by Ashton Willett wants to send people down, 3 people. Mount Vernon may send a couple. So they want to try to get 10 or 12 to come to that training to make it go. So we're waiting on official word, but that looks like we're penciled in for those days right now.
We would be hosting it here.
Yes.
She's going to come here, so that's what we want. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Love that. Yeah, I was right here in this room, so
That's good.
yeah. Thank you for your work on that, and Cindy as well.
Thank you. Sorry, FEA. This is people.
We applied for a grant, which we got word just recently that we received it, so we'll have $25,000 each year to spend, and we're looking forward to utilizing the money for projects, activities, and events that will help with our students, staff, and teachers in the community.
Thank you. Thank you for filling in.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
So is that typical? That's great. Yeah, our union treatment applies for that, and we got it, $25,000 each year. And so we've actually been a model for other districts that are now starting to.
OC, Mrs. Streety.
Enjoy the summer.
Good. Good.
So far.
I need a motion to go into executive session for discussion of personnel and the superintendent's contract. No action to follow.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Lindeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Maynard,
Yes.
Mr. Bellman,
Yes.
Mr. Polk,
Yes.
Mr. Napier.
Yes.